August 20 interruption there. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is I see a lot of cards in around the defensiveness, grounded sort of energy, a little bit of reflection going on here as well. I do feel like there is something in around the past that you're trying to bring forward here that you are focused on that seems to be something that is of a new money path, I would say. For those of you that are looking for a job, I suspect there is at least some sense of it coming through here with the Ace of Pentacles. So there's something here that you could be looking at going into either way that seems to be, and again, it's going to resonate for all, differently for all of you because number one, you are all making decisions on, different weeks, days of the week and so forth. So in other words, what I'm getting at is some of this may resonate a little further out. You may not be quite in this energy yet. But for, again, those that it does resonate for, I'll do a general synopsis and then I'll just pull it through with a little more detail. So just in looking at the cards, like I said, I mean, you could be dealing with an air sign here. Libra energy seems to be predominant, Gemini, Aquarius as well. I do see that you're trying to move yourself ahead into some new direction. It does look like there is, like I said, almost a bit of a reserve, a hesitation, a doubt, a little bit of, uncertainty about moving forward in this new direction because I mean there's almost sort of a bit of a back and forth energy here, a little bit more along the lines of like intellectually, like you're trying to look at something and try to consider your position on it. You're doing some research, I would say, in around this area, but it looks like there's momentum, like there's some kind of movement here, but I would still say overall there is going to be a step in the right direction here. And then of course I did pull a clarifier here, which are these below with the Page of Wands, the Moon card, and so on. All the main cards out here are above. The only one that I see here that's a major arcana is the Fool. So overall, that seems to be the predominant energy that you are interested in going off in a new direction, or at least being open to something new. You are trying to build that. You're exploring it, is what I would say here, because there's a lot of cards of the Swords coming in here. So and the Queen of Swords for me, for an example, is one of the cards that's kind of pooling resources, trying to get, research on something, trying to, really build up a knowledge base in a particular area here is what I would say for, again, whoever this resonates for. It does feel like there's something coming in here from the past, that this is maybe something that you've entertained in the past, but you seem to be looking at either building it off in some new direction, but you're almost exploring it further than what you previously had done. But either way, there is a sense that you are moving it ahead for sure in the month of August. There is more than just the idea behind it. You're still doing the research, but there is some application that you're putting forward with this. So for some of you, this may actually be something in terms of a legal situation here where there is some kind of legal paperwork or something that you're putting into motion. There is something that could be in around that energy. Like I said, I don't see the Justice card out, but it almost seems to be like it's paperwork that has a formality to it. Could be in around a loan or in around something that's in around a financial element anyway. Okay, so you are possibly looking for backing of some sort here, but the predominant energy, again, is the Fool, and that's jumping into something new that's kind of uncharted territory, and trying to figure it out from there. So again, the main energy around this read, which is what I asked, was the Seven of Wands and the Page of Wands. So you're definitely taking some action in this month, but the Seven of Wands represents to me, you do have the upper hand in a situation. You are taking action. It is a position where you are sort of up against some form of opposition or somebody that may be challenging you, in regards to whatever this scenario is you're trying to go forward with. There's some kind of resistance here. But I do feel like you're still in a situation where you are persevering through it regardless. I don't feel like you're daunted in any way. You are asserting yourself here. And then when we get to the Page of Wands, and again, this is the clarifier, but this is more along the lines of kind of a creative pursuit is what I would say here. So this seems to be that there is a sense of adventure that kind of goes along with these cards, with the Fool, the Seven of Wands. There's energy behind it, and the Page of Wands is something that's a little more enthusiastic. That it's almost like, looking at something with a child's eyes. There's that kind of invigorating energy behind it. So there's potential, but it's almost from a place of overexcitement because it's something new and it's something that is, really pulling you forward because it has that kind of a challenge behind it. Sorry, guys. But it also has that energy of, you benefiting from a fresh look at something, a fresh approach, some new way of doing something. But you have to persevere something to kind of get it to this next level, is where you're sitting here in that section. But I would say with the Page of Wands, it definitely is an indicator here that you are taking that action nonetheless. You're moving on the idea, and it definitely does speak to some kind of maybe an unconventional solution here as well, with the Fool card coming through. There's something about going off in a different direction than you maybe might otherwise have done, but this is how you're overcoming the obstacle, is what I would say here. And again, you're persevering it. It's a strong pursuit of a goal, but it's more along the lines of the energy behind it is what's pushing you forward, because you feel a lot more energized by this creative pursuit. So this is where you're at, something along that line that's really appealing to you. Okay, so Page of Swords, and again, for others of you, you might be sort of sitting in that energy here where Page of Swords, again, still researching, still exploring, still trying to get some idea of what it is that you're trying to figure out. You're trying to figure out something in the month of August, which is requiring you to research something and able to understand it and make some progress. The devil energy with this is there is that sense of, curiosity. You're definitely thinking a lot quicker here in the month of August for sure, because I do see a lot of, energy of agile mind and that kind of thing. But it's also in around that pursuit of knowledge, like I said, with the Page of Swords and even the Page of Pentacles. This could be going back to school for some, because it definitely speaks to something in around communication and knowledge building. So whatever that is for you, again, this could also be sort of signing the dotted line with paperwork, that kind of thing, or at least getting close to that stage. But right now it's in that realm of maybe sort of battling a little bit of your own demons here as well, in around something that you're trying to pursue. So if you're trying to advance yourself in a particular area, that could be in around communication, but I still strongly feel research and knowledge. It's just that reminder here that whatever this is, it's almost like you're trying to escape it a little bit here in the beginning of the month. And maybe it's because there's, negative thinking, that kind of thing. About your, at least there's a little bit of that negative energy in the beginning of the month, like I said. So this could, relate to any kind of destructive self-talk, lack of belief in oneself, something along that line. But it's just a little bit of an inhibiting energy around the beginning of the month that indicates that you're still struggling to work through something. You're searching for some kind of knowledge. You're searching for some deeper understanding of something. And with that devil energy, it's like the insight is challenging you in some way. So maybe there is a sense that, you're being tempted by something else here that's kind of throwing you off track. You're sidetracked with something that, is pulling you away from your focus, something along that line. But either way, we're kind of moving past that and moving it into the Page of Pentacles energy. So again, Ace and Page of Pentacles together, there is some kind of advancement, and then definitely you've got a lot of energy of movement on this. So let's move it right into the Queen of Swords and the Page. I'll go back to the Ace of Pentacles here, but the Queen of Swords, again, sort of speaks to that air sign energy here that could be prevalent. Doesn't necessarily have to be those particular signs, but it certainly can be those qualities of those signs that are coming through this month, whether within yourself or another. It does, again, the queens to me are all about, sort of pooling the resources, pulling things in to be able to utilize it in some way. Queen of Swords for sure is that, that kind of that kind of energy where you're a little more direct in the way that you communicate. So you're not, mincing with words. You're just overt, direct, not a lot of overly sympathetic kind of tone. It's more just, let's just get this done, get this wrapped up, and kind of move on it. So it's that kind of energy. But there is a lot of pentacle energy here. So I feel like you're really focused on grounding yourself this month. It's very important for you to act on something and really get focused on the money. So you're definitely focused on something that's connected to the material world. So again, whether this is learning that's advancing you in some way, is definitely coming through, but there's definitely a sense here, as I said, that this is related either to finances, career, or at least some aspect of your monetary gain, something that's going to bring real money into the household, that kind of thing. Again, you're relying on your intellect this month, and your communication skills to kind of navigate you through to whatever these new areas are that you're trying to open yourself up to. So again, it feels very strongly that there's a new sense of learning or acquiring new skills, something along that line here this month. You are doing the research, you're relying on a lot of rational aspects of yourself to be able to deal and communicate and sort of move on, move in this new direction, like I said, because it is something that's going to be, I'm seeing more along the lines of something that's connected to the past. Maybe this is related around a past dream or goal or something, but it's certainly something that's coming up from the past that is something you entertained anyway. And it could also be that there is a new job that somebody is maybe telling you about that's from the past. This could be connecting with, somebody, like I say, from the past. I don't necessarily see community or a big gathering or anything along that line. So it doesn't feel like it just feels like it's some kind of, maybe even an old job from the past that's kind of coming up here, or work that is along that line that you are now kind of revisiting. So it doesn't feel so much that it is like an involvement of other people. It could very well be, that somebody's saying, hey, there's another job in this sector or whatever, and you know, do you want to take the position? But either way, there's just some connection with the past there. But again, I'm not really seeing it as, a group of people that are trying to get you into a position and level it up, anything like that. It seems like it's more of a, either a job for a lot of you. Again, it's going to resonate a little differently because the energy we may all be going through this kind of energy at a little bit different staggering periods, but again, it's still energy that seems to be kind of going through for the Taurus, just at different stages. Some of you, it'll be, playing out in terms of a job. Others, it'll be playing out in terms of, more of an emotional sort of situation. What I'm seeing here, though, isn't really strongly emotional. It really feels like it's more grounded energy around your finances that seems to be the focal point. So again, I'm just going to repeat that I feel that that Six of Cups is coming through as something that you've done before that's kind of re-emerging here, that you maybe didn't fully flesh out and really act on, but now you're almost, looking at it with, keener vision and trying to review, how you can balance this out and do more research to make it, more of an advantageous position for you. But again, it does feel like there's more required skill building or knowledge base, something along that line has to happen here and able to make you feel like you're kind of achieving your goal here. Because most of the cards here is that you're almost doubting the situation here in the beginning, and then something comes through that kind of says, okay, this looks like something I might be interested in. And again, it could very well be going back to school, because I do see the Page of Pentacles here. I usually would see the Hierophant as well, so it almost feels like it's more of a creative pursuit, but that you're having to do a lot of research on, and able to kind of move off in this direction. It doesn't feel very formalized, although there could be some contracts or something that you're still having to deal with, or something that you're having to look at that's quite involved paperwork, something along that line here as well. But again, most of the energy I still feel is kind of more personalized here. When I get to that Six of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles, I mean, as I said, I do still feel like there's a bit of childhood or nostalgia or something from the past, or re-entertaining an idea here something that's coming through here that gives me the sense that you are interested in trying something again. There's a new beginning because of this, this entertaining thought from the past. But again, it's still something that you're trying to build in the physical world. And like I said, Page of Pentacles is telling me that there's not a lot of money coming in with it just yet. There's still a little bit of reserve around how it'll all play out, because you're just not feeling a lot of certainty in this area, because you're not sure of the level of growth. It feels like you would like to, you'd like to try to tap into it, and then sort of see how things work out before you really kind of jump in and fully embrace it. I do feel, like I said, it's a new path here for you. It's something that you're revisiting from the past, but somehow there's more information, more research going into it, and able for you to kind of jump into this space. When we look at that Queen of Swords there again, like I said, the Queen of Swords is still that energy of guidance as well, and it definitely speaks to acquiring new skills and learning, like I mentioned as well. And there's a lot of cards that kind of support that, I would say. Keeping a real balanced intellect, between that and your emotional state is where things are at there. And it definitely, definitely, definitely speaks to, you just being a lot more, I don't want to say unemotional, but definitely trying to keep yourself strongly focused and rational on what it is that you're dealing with this month. So I just feel like you've got a pretty good focus on what you're looking for here. So there again, there could be a sense that maybe there was something that was a bit of a loss here with the devil, or at least, I don't want to say a full loss, because it's almost like something isn't going as you expected here. And with that Page of Swords, it's kind of left you with a bad taste in your mouth, so to speak. This could be, something that you're tempted to move into because of something that, was dealing with a harsh word or a harsh situation. But I do feel like you're trying to liberate yourself from that situation, because the devil is speaking to things where we're kind of looking at things in terms of, poor self-talk, that kind of thing. Especially when I see the moon, there's a period of reflection, really looking, you know, not feeling certain about the new path that you're going on to. So if there was maybe even some kind of a, I don't want to say loss of a job, but it's almost maybe you're looking at it that way. Maybe there was some kind of, suffering or something that, harsh words, it's kind of, led you to feel like you're being, I don't want to say I'm seeing trapped here exactly, but it feels like it's more along the lines of not feeling appreciated, and there were some harsh words, maybe that there was a confrontation of some sort that that you're now choosing to move on into a different, situation here. So again, there's a little bit of limitation around that, where I feel you're kind of bound by something is holding you back here, over there with the devil. But with that Ace of Pentacles energy following that, it's like you're liberating yourself to find something that will help to ground you in a stronger way. So definitely it is going to be something that's coming through in a very small way. I don't really see this as the money. It's a money path that definitely has some potential to it. It's not really outlining how much of, how much that path would really bring in. It's kind of smaller denominations is what I'm looking at right now. So maybe it's that you just haven't fleshed out enough to know exactly what this new beginning will bring about. So the ace is, of course, just that seed of potential, and it is a place where you can start something new, that is going to be a more of a safe haven, like it's a safe path. And it is something that can blossom and will. But again, I'm not sure if it's even known to you at this time how much progress you can make in this direction, because it's still building the dream, so to speak, with the Fool card here. And I would say, even with that Fool card energy, like I said, it's a new adventure for you. And so maybe there's just so much reserve around it that you're not really sure yourself, of the direction is going to be one that you will entertain for the long haul. But it is still a sense of a change anyway coming in here. Um, as I say, I don't feel like you're feeling super optimistic about it just yet. It's more of a persevering energy, like I've just got to get through it, put my time and energy into something. I'm reflecting on this. I don't really have a full view of the path yet. I am having to kind of go into this blindly with a bit of a leap of faith here, more of a courageous step forward. And it certainly does speak to, you're excited, and that's the only, excited about the idea of something new, but I just don't feel like you're 100% certain on the way forward. That's all. Like I said, that moon energy kind of pulls you back a little bit to sort of explore why you're thinking, about this path. So this is obviously about trying to face your fears and get through any illusions or anything that's causing you some anxiety or confusion. This is where you're a little bit blocked about going forward in this path. So I feel like this is where you are getting past it. There's some beginning energy that indicates that you are, but you're still, trying to find the way, or at least trying to find some trust in yourself to kind of move on this path. So you need the wisdom from the moon, and that's that intuitive path that will kind of open this up. So even though you're dealing with things in that rational approach and so on, like I said, there's going to be something here that kind of opens up to you that will help you to move in the right direction, or move in a direction here. So I just want to check one more thing here, because like I said, the Fool and the Moon card is still, dealing with your instincts on something here as well. And, I still feel like for the most part, most of this is about doing a lot of research. There's a lot of research, or really trying to figure out something before you act. But this is confusion. This is self-doubt. This is reflection. You're trying to kind of keep your emotional balance here. You're trying to look for something that'll help you to feel a lot more clear and more secure in the path that you're headed toward. But I just don't see that you feel it just yet. So it's almost like I'm just going to persevere and see what happens. And like I said, I mean, because of, you're not 100% sure of this path, that is why I would say you're in reserve about kind of jumping in here. Because the Queen of Swords, like I said, I mean, this is that card of, you've got some real boundaries here about how you're moving forward. And as I said, it's a very independent card, and it definitely speaks to kind of directly dealing with people. It's a problem-solving energy here as well. And as I said, kind of sharp, it may be in the way that you speak to people, because you're trying to problem solve. So, you're not really indulging in your feelings, but you're also not hiding your feelings. It's more of a, if I'm in a bad mood and I'm short with you, that's just because I'm heavily focused, and you're distracting me, or something like that. I mean, I guess that's maybe my poor example of things, but it's more along the lines of, you're not really trying to understand everybody else's feelings. You're just dealing with what's on your plate. So Aquarius, like I said, Libra energy, Gemini comes through here. It is kind of air sign energy here, but again, you're just trying to deal with things from a more, tell it like it is kind of position here. So there's also that sense that you're more emotionally detached. Like I said, I mean, because you're in such deep focus, deep reflection, really trying to work through something. You're really looking for an answer to something that is going to put you on a new path here, that's around money for sure. And again, you could also very well be sort of directly dealing with it. It seems to be all around a new path. So it's almost like, I'm not even sure of the way forward here, but I'm just going to jump in, start fresh with something. Again, this could be a new job for some, and maybe you're leaving an old job behind, something along that line. And maybe this was because there was some kind of, something you thought was kind of unsavory going on over here. And that's why, you've decided to sort of jump ship and move into this new direction here. So, like I said, I mean, the energy still speaks to you trying to define things and get clear on this new direction that you're going in, because you're really harshly focused on it, I would say. And I do feel like you have something in mind about how you're, how you're moving forward. But it's almost like you're still doing a little bit of the research in this month, so you can't really quite act on it. And again, that devil energy still speaks to really looking closely at something that is tempting you, or you want to make sure that you're not repeating a pattern, something like that. Kind of sort of suggests that here as well. But I feel like you want to have a more satisfying kind of emotional connection to something. And I feel like this energy over here with the devil, lets me know that there is something here that is holding you back, something that you are bound by in some way. So again, it's almost like you're challenged on something intellectually, or challenged on something, maybe challenged on the work that you do. It's almost like somebody, I mean, if it's a work situation, it's almost like somebody would come forward and say, explain yourself, and they're not in agreement with something that you've done. It'd be something like that. And for others, again, this will play out with more of it, which also still speaks to kind of questioning yourself in a certain way where you just don't feel like you have measured up. um, but it still feels like there's some kind of harsh word that's come through with this energy. So either way, there's something there at the beginning of the month that tells me you are not happy with your situation, and that's why you're figuring out new ways to move ahead. So again, Ace of Pentacles, you're in that space of really trying to figure out what's your next money path going to be here. Again, there might be a job interview coming through for some of you. There's at least one opportunity that you're considering here, but I feel like you have to sort of process it and do some more research around it. Don't feel like you're just jumping in right away. It is going to be something that would add to your stability for sure. And it feels like it's something you've done before. And I would say that, again, maybe your reluctance is just because it is something you've done from the past and it wasn't really all that viable before. But either way, it's still work that is still work that I feel like it's a business that, will keep you stable for sure. So again, if you are more along the entrepreneurial side of things, there could be a loan that's kind of coming through here that you're trying to kind of work through the persevere through the situation. I don't feel like there's any specific resolve yet as to whether or not you would get it if it is that kind of thing, but it definitely feels as though there is paperwork and those kinds of things that you're sort of inundated with at this point anyway. So nothing really, there's forward movement, but it's not like it's a resolving movement yet. Like it's not, there's no real direct answer as to whether or not something is coming through. Just to me, it still looks like there's a lot of processing energy here. Like I said, Page of Pentacles, it still speaks to, you're still exploring and investigating and, building, skill building, and trying to get more information or something together here. Again, there could be some communication here as well in this next short period here that does indicate that you are going to get word that you can go forward to the next step here, but it just doesn't feel like it's a fully worked through scenario here. But there is some good news, or at least some expectation that there would be something that would move you forward in this direction. So again, that's what I would say on that front. I do feel like I say, Seven of Wands, well, because the Fool is here, it still feels like there's a lot of persevering energy because it's next to the Seven of Wands, and that was the main energy out. So that's still working through ordering things together and getting, working through sort of the problems of a situation. That's still that energy of pushing through it all. And again, the Page of Wands, of course, is that you're finally taking a little bit of action here, but not resolved action yet in the month of August. Still too much energy around beginning elements. So that's kind of where that stands. Like I said, I feel like there is something here with looking at the 12th house. This is the the Star Codes Astro Oracle. I'm going to read this one. This is actually by Heather Rowan Robbins. See if I can find this one here. I don't read this one very often, so I apologize that I don't have it all kind of underway here, but I will just give it a second here and we'll locate that. Okay. So this one is more along the lines of kind of general energy as well as sort of advice cards. So here's what it says with introspection. And again, that would go hand in hand with the moon card here also, where you're trying to kind of work through the process of things. But if your chart were a village map, the 12th house would be a quiet place. The sun is in the 12th house just after sunrise, a time for prayer and meditation, for dreaming our deepest dreams. The 12th house is your inner child's world, containing both the fairyland into which you might escape and the monsters that live under your bed. Okay, and that kind of stands to reason because we do have the 6 of Cups, childhood, and we also have the moon, which is reflection, and the 12th house introspection is where all of that lay as far as card is outlining. So the action is to introspect. So this situation is complex. Learn what's going on behind the scenes before you act. That's pretty much all of the energy of what I just stated here. So look for private motives, hidden enemies, surprise angels. Take time alone to develop an idea or listen within. The 12th house speaks of both who you are and when no one's looking, or sorry, who you are when no one's looking, and the fact that your fate is inextricably linked to every other sentient being. Work with this metaphor. We are all cells in the body of the divine. It's essential that you take care of yourself, your individual cell, and honor who you are. But you must also acknowledge that you work within an organism, family, and culture. That's your organism. So think of the body as well. It's one system. You're not just the brain, you're not just the stomach. The stomach has a lot of bacteria in that system. And believe it or not, they've actually done some research that indicate, too, that just as a side note, because I'm random like that, but also indicating that when you do have a lot of bacteria that is, not favorable bacteria to help you digest and so on, sometimes that can actually lead to other mental health issues. So just something to be mindful of, especially if you deal with a lot of anxiety or depression or anything like that. Sometimes just adding things to your, like probiotics and so on, things to the stomach, just to help balance out the stomach bacteria, can also aid with some of those areas. Anyway, on to the card. Okay, so again, we're talking about systems and how you're not just the brain, you're not just the stomach. They all work in tandem. So you really have to look at them from that point of view as well. So you have to acknowledge your place in the organism. So it can't be all you, all them. It's trying to find a bit of a negotiation between the systems so that everything thrives and can work symbiotically. Okay, so back to you must acknowledge that you work within an organism. Again, family, culture, our overall culture, that is our immediate world, so which operates within the body of all creation. So if you just take care of yourself and disregard the rest, you become a cancer that brings illness to that great body. If you deny your individuality, you can't do what you were born to do. So both realities are clear and true. You do exist independently, and you are also a part of the collective. It's just a perspective shift. So it's impractical to get lost in just yourself, in oneness, whether in spiritual bliss or over identification with your group, and neglect your individual health. So it sounds like this is time for you to really start taking a look at how you are connected to everything. So, but it goes on further to say, it can be spiritually painful to feel stuck in the isolated single cell mindset. Spiritual practice can help you find a healthy midpoint between a disconnected, lonely state and a state of connection. Connection to one another, to a cause, or to the divine. Grounding helps you return to your personal path. So maybe that's what the issue is here, is you're not really connecting to your personal path. You're not really connecting to you because there is a sense of detachment in this month. And this is where you're probably trying to sort of reconnect to you. So anyway, grounding helps you to return to your personal path. It can be hard to find, this is the challenge, it can be hard to find a healthy place between feeling subsumed by a group and dwelling in stunted isolation. The 12th house asks you to face your fears. And the gift is in quiet moments of prayer, meditation, creative bliss. This is where you can feel that deep connection to Source and know that you're not alone. So I think that is a very powerful card, and hopefully that gives you a little insight into the month of August. I'll do some other reads here too, but this is just one element that seems to be a focus for your month, is that you are kind of working through some kind of emotional issue here not emotions as in deep emotions, more about your focus and how you speak to yourself, how you're communicating, almost a disconnection from yourself here as well. But you are trying to find more positive, more grounding. I find that you find your positive energy through grounding practices. So that would be where the Page of Pentacles comes in. So your money and your finances seem to help ground you, and that helps you to pull forward in a more positive way. So either way, that's just a little bit of insight. We'll do some other cards here further out. Maybe your long career, money, finance. Just have to see how my time flows here, guys. But keep moving forward. Never give up. And this is just one element for whoever this resonates for the month of August 2023.